Cast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our September Pennsylvania Broker Roundtable on real estate cybercrime, focusing specifically on wire fraud, hosted by our Pennsylvania broker, Dan McIntosh. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone of a few features that we have here at Allison James. First, I want to remind everyone about our live chat feature. When you log into Allison James University, there is a blue bar at the bottom right of your screen. You can instantly get in touch with a member of our support team this way. Quickly chat us a question and we will solve your problem as soon as possible. If we are logged off for the day, you can still use this feature. It sends us an email and we will get back to you as soon as we return to the office. Also, don't forget to take a look at the Learn section of Allison James University. This is where we keep all of our recorded webinars, Facebook Lives, and more. This is a great place for you to continue to grow your business. I believe that there is no such thing as learning too much. So jump in here, start watching videos about technology, expert talk, social media marketing, and more. If you have any questions about Allison James University or any of our other tools, you can always email us at support@ajicorporate.com. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started with our Pennsylvania Broker Roundtable. Remember, if you have any questions during this presentation, go ahead and type them in to the questions panel of your GoToWebinar control panel, or if you're joining us live on Facebook, please go ahead and comment in the comment box of this video. We will go ahead and get all of your questions answered at the end. With that said, I will now pass it over to Dan McIntosh. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Tori. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
And welcome everyone that's decided to join us today. Today's topic is going to be cybercrime. And if you could just hang on 1 second with me, and I apologize, I wanted to do this on my laptop, but I wanted to make sure. Bear with me. Can you still hear me, Tori?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, guys, thank you for joining me. And we had a little bit of technical difficulty. Today's subject is cybercrime, and I chose to get into cybercrime because our office was a direct result of it. But I'll get into that a little later. Typically, how I like to run these roundtables is I find information on a subject from the professionals. I do my research on the subject, and I come on the roundtable and provide that information to you, trying to update you and keep you abreast. You have to be an ostrich or have to have been in a cave for the last 24 months if you have never heard of cybercrime. We are fast approaching the midpoint of the third business quarter of 2018, and I suspect that most, if not all, of the professionals who take time in real estate or in any profession right now, you are passingly familiar with the term cybercrime. Probably the most commonly appreciated type of cybercrime for the realtor, which is us, is wire fraud. Concerns about wires being hijacked or misdirected have consumed the title industry. And if you look at any email from a title company, at the bottom of the email, you will see in big, bold, red letters, beware of wire fraud, because it's serious. There is a greater appreciation of that risk that consumers face when transferring funds as part of a real estate transaction. Is it enough for realtors to be aware of the risks of wire fraud? Do we as agents have a responsibility to educate our clients about the risks and basic precautions that they can take to reduce their risk of becoming victims? Do brokers have an obligation to be familiar with the risks, to educate their licensees and provide protections? What are your duties as a licensee to the consumer with whom you work? Well, let's get into some numbers regarding financially, what kind of dollars are we talking about when it comes to cybercrime right now? On May 7th, 2018, the FBI released the most recent report about cybercrime based on information gathered in statistics compiled by the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center. Since October 12th, 2017, it's received its 4 millionth consumer cybercrime complaint. In 2017 alone, the IC3 received over 300,000 complaints against cybercrime, totaling, now listen to me, totaling approximately $1.42 billion in losses in the United States. People, from October 1st, 2017, we're not even a year into this, $1.42 billion in losses in the United States. Those numbers, as big as they are just truly the tip of the iceberg for realtors. From 2015 to 2017, one form of cybercrime targeting real estate transaction, business email, comprised email accounts, comprised agents, rose over 1,100%. So specifically, real estate agents are being targeted. Plain, where if you're a thief, where do you go? You go where the money is. Pennsylvania, unfortunately, has had the dubious honor to climb in the ranks from 8th in 2016 to 5th in 2017 for the number of victims of cybercrime. Some very simple conclusions can be drawn from these numbers. Not only is cybercrime increasing at an alarming rate, but real estate transactions are being targeted more and more frequently. And Pennsylvanians are increasingly becoming prime targets. There are so many aspects to cybercrime and so much information that it can quickly become overwhelming. What do agents need to know about cybercrime? Into what technology do agents need to invest? What are agents' duties to their selling and buying consumers? What are the brokers' duties to their agents? These are challenging questions. A more relevant question for agents is, how can we limit our liability if and when our clients are victims of cybercrime? The good news is some of the most important steps that one can take to minimize exposure and liability are within the individual's control. The bad news is some of the most important steps that one can take to minimize exposure and liability are also within the individual's control. This is typically how the scam works. Hackers find an opening into a title company or realty agent's email account. They track upcoming home purchases scheduled for settlements. The pricier the better. Then they assume the identity of the title agent, agency person handling the transaction, or they assume the identity of the realtor. Now, I know this firsthand because our office, Alice and James Estates and Homes of Pennsylvania, about 2 months ago, we were victims of cybercrime, and the scenario followed what I just read exactly. Someone came in and compromised our assistant's email. They took over her identity. They also compromised my email account and compromised my identity. They, in turn, began to communicate directly with the title company. If it weren't for the ever vigilant title company, the scam would have worked. Basically, they were trying to change the wire for one of our closing, and they, due to their the roughness around the edges, they didn't have the smoothness to pull it off, and the title company caught them. But that was something we did have to file with our local police department, and a complaint was made with the FBI. So how it works is days or sometimes weeks before the settlement, the scammer poses as a title or escrow agent whose email accounts they've hijacked and instructs the home buyer or realtor to wire the funds needed to close, often hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes far more, to the criminal's own bank accounts. Not the title escrow company's legitimate accounts. The criminals then withdraw the money and vanish. According to the new data provided for this column by the FBI in fiscal year 2017, nearly $1,969,000,000 to be exact was diverted or attempted to be diverted from real estate purchases and transactions and wired to criminally controlled accounts. This figure is up explosively from fiscal 2016, when the FBI counted 19 million in wire transfer frauds. So in the span of 1 year, from 2016 to 2017, we went from 19 million to 969 million. That is stunning and terrifying. The Bureau describes this growth rate of type of theft as steep. And though the sharp statistical rise may be partially attributed to increased reporting of such banks hacks by consumers, banks and real estate industry participants, it's also shocking and devastating to the home buyers involved. Consider two, and I'm going to read you two recent cases involving substantial losses. Last May, Washington, D.C., couple lost $1.5 million when their wire transfer of settlement funds was hijacked after cyber thieves reportedly penetrated a title and escrow company's email system and steered the money to their own account. In January, a Denver couple signed a contract to buy a $504,000 new home. They had sold their previous house and planned to use the $272,536 in proceeds as a down payment. Somewhere along the path to the scheduled closing in April, hackers gained access to the email system of the title company, realty agent, or mortgage company. No one seems to know which. The couple received genuine-looking email instructions on wiring the down payment cash in preparation for settlement. But the instructions were actually bogus and the money disappeared. Nothing has been recovered. Although cyber thefts involving home settlements have been occurring for several years, the number of attacks and the dollar amount stolen during the past year is stunning. Realty industry experts who expected that greater public awareness of the problem would help better secure their systems and would also thwart hackers. It is unbelievable how often this is happening, said Jessica Edgerton of the Associate Counsel for the National Association of Realtors in Chicago. And now real estate clients who have been scammed are fighting back, seeking recovery of funds through the courts and turning to an FBI weapon little known to the general public, the financial fraud kill chain. The Bureau says that it may be able to stop the transfer and recover consumer funds if the wire transfer amount is $50,000 or more. The bank transfer is sent internationally. The bank issues a recall notice, and the FBI is informed of details within 72 hours. So that's something that's good to know. That, again, the name of that is the financial fraud kill chain. But you have to report the scam within 72 hours, and the transfer amount has to be $50,000 or more, and it has to be an international transfer. There are also people now who are looking into suing the agencies.
Are you still there, Dan? Well, I'm not sure what happened. I'm going to go ahead and chat Dan's email address into the chat box of this. If you have any questions about cybercrime or wire fraud, you can go ahead and email him at pabroker@ajicorporate.com. I will also put this on the Facebook.
Did you lose me?
I did lose you. Did something happen?
Again, and I apologize because I had to do this on my phone. The call comes in, and apparently I think it's doing something to my transmission. I was almost done.
No
anyway,
worries.
but
go for it.
But as I was telling, mentioning about our personal experience, how our identity had been hacked, and the hackers were trying to change they gave the title company new wiring instructions. Now, most title companies now will not wire funds unless they speak directly to the person who it's being wired to, and they can confirm that verbally. So instructions via email are now going by the wayside, which is smart. The police were able to track in our particular case that the account was in Honolulu, and The recipients were probably in Nigeria, but it was a legitimate account in Honolulu, and they were able to track it that far. So the moral of the story is pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. And when it comes to wires, make sure that you do follow-up phone calls with the title company, and the title companies are now expecting that they have to call the person who is expecting the wire and verify that information verbally as well. If there are any further questions, please feel free to contact me directly. And I think Tori may have already given you the information, but I'm going to give it to you again. Our office here in the Collegeville office is 610-489-5911, or you can reach me at pabroker.com or at dan@rdcaffiliates.com.
Right.
And I think that is going to be it, Tori.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Dan. Cybercrime is very serious and definitely something to look out for. So we appreciate you giving us some insight on that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for our Pennsylvania Broker Roundtable. And, of course, a special thank you to our broker, Dan, for putting together a great topic and a presentation. We will see you all next month for another Pennsylvania Broker Roundtable. Thanks for joining, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys, and see you next month.